You know, greens can really be a tough sell to people. We tell people, eat more green leafy vegetables. They're good for you. They're high in iron. They have amino acids and antioxidants. And greens are tough, especially for kids. So I like to do several things with several different greens. And I've kind of broken them down into categories. And the first category we talk about are those greens that I feel like really need to be blanched or cooked pretty well before you actually eat them. And this is kale. And I'm sure you've seen kale and you're not quite sure. I know I've seen it and you think, what am I going to do with this kale? There's two different things you can do with it. One would be to cut it off of the stem, to remove the stems pretty well here, okay? And then to just blanch that in boiling salted water for probably 3 to 5 minutes until it's tender. The other thing you can do that I really like that I think is a little bit easier is to take it, and if you can see this, I've grilled these leaves, all right? I've grilled them just as they are, so they're still on the stem. Same thing, a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, probably not more than 45 seconds or so on each side. And then after they come off the grill, then I can just take those stems right off. And believe it or not, for some reason, and I really can't explain it, the bitterness is definitely less, and the flavor is richer, very smoky, and I'm telling you, you can serve this just as it is. Or, you know what I do with this too, is I'll chop it after it's cooled down, I'll throw it in the refrigerator, and then I keep it in there, and you can actually toss it with pasta, a little bit of chicken breast, and it's very nice, and it's very good, and it's not bitter. The second green that I want to talk about is one that can also be very bitter, and that is rapini, or broccoli rabe, as it's known in some parts of the country. And this is a cross between kale and broccoli, and you can kind of see that. It's got a very nice curly leaf, and of course it has the little broccoli floret on there. And with these, this really does require to be blanched, I think, especially if you're going to toss it in pasta, or even if you're going to serve it as a vegetable. Here's what I usually do. I usually take it down to about the point where it's just the tough stems. So I kind of discard those, and just cut the leaves and the tops and have them ready to go. Then, boiling salted water. And when I cook this, I probably use about a tablespoon or so of salt per quart of water. And that may sound like a lot, but you'd be surprised. There's really not a lot of absorption into the vegetable of the salt, especially if you give it a quick rinse after it comes out. So my chopped rapini then just gets dropped right in the boiling salted water, and I let that go probably for 3 to 5 minutes as well, just to really leach out that bitterness, and it makes it nice and sweet, and the kids will love it, and it's great in pasta as well. I've got a couple more categories, and this is what I would call the category that really doesn't require a whole lot of pre-cooking, and that would be chard. This happens to be the red chard. You see it as rainbow chard. You see it as sometimes just green, and these are generally very large, broad leaves, which also require the stem to be taken out. And then I do like to chop this up because otherwise it really is, it's a little too much to handle. And so I chop this up, and just like spinach, which I kind of classify in the same category, this really doesn't have to be blanched and can actually go right into your pan and just cooked as it is. And what I've done here is I've browned a little bit of garlic. I've sliced it. I like it sliced instead of minced in a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to add just a pinch of salt and pepper to that. And that's really all it needs. Of course, spinach can be used in salads and raw as well, more so than chard can. But I find that at home, my kids will eat the spinach. They'll eat it cooked more than they will raw. And it only takes, as you can see, it really only takes a few seconds just to wilt the leaves slightly and impart that nice garlic flavor into it. And that is it, just as quick as you saw. No cutaways there, no cutaways. And that is ready to go just as it is. So, greens are healthy. They can be delicious if you handle them in the right way.